K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacey. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
Yes, dear boys and girls. Oh, it's so exciting, Woo! Yes, they used to have a television show called Lost in Space with a very strange, weird British pedophile. Good evening, Tuesday, June 30th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. JD and Stacey here at Game On K98 Talk. Going to bring you the next hour coming through talking about the Christie announced, good Lord and baby Jesus, no. The GOP's just complete reaction to the Supreme Court.
Candidate number 14.
No, 437,963 and a half running on our sides. We're going to talk about the GOP's reaction to last week. We're going to get into that identity politics. And yes, be as offended as you want. You broke-ass Greeks is just destroying the world, baby. Yeah. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.com. Get in that chat room. Say hello to Stacey, Slickery Trigger, Stacey's mom, who is now herself, who told us last week she was somebody else, but we have no idea what the hell she was talking about. And as always, get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag K98Talk. And, Stacey, how easy have we made it for everybody to listen to our catalog of stuff?
If you go to Spreaker.com and look up JD and Stacey.
No.
We're
going to get this right one day. Stacey. Also, get over there. Rick.
Didn't I just say JD and Stacey?
Yeah, but you said it like a normal person. Be nice enough to go over there. Rick was nice enough to post Stacey's time out at Western Conservative States last week with our friends Jody and Diane of the Red Wine, with our friends over on Altcon Radio. Check it out on Spreaker. That's right. You listening, Hammy. Don't check it out on that Altcon. Check it out on our Spreaker, baby, over K98 Talk. How you, baby girl?
I'm fine. Just, I said it in a normal voice because I'm the normal one on the broadcast.
Yeah, you keep telling. Whatever gets you to sleep at night, lady.
Something better get me to sleep because I am jet lagged hardcore.
I have to tell everybody, tonight is going to be have no idea what's going on radio. I got bags under my eyes. You can carry Christmas gifts around. And JC, you see? JC and DJ.
Did you get a new co-host?
Yes, I did. It was about time. You're just a horrible, awful human being, and I don't like you.
I like you less.
Get over it.
Okay, terrific.
Okay.
Hey, did you hear the really exciting news, though?
What?
3,000 pages of Clinton email are going to dump tonight.
This is such crap.
It was the deadline. They had to put so many out by this date, so they're waiting till tonight to do it and hoping nobody notices.
All right, we're talking about Clinton and dumps. Are you talking about what Bill Clinton pays $500 an extra an hour for when he's with an escort, or what exactly are we talking about?
Her emails from the server, the ones she handpicked and turned over to the State Department.
I don't care. She's a
that
lying,
I'm sure are thoroughly
thief.
redacted, too.
Oh, thoroughly redact this. Let me all right. Okay. I had to print out some emails the other day for work, okay? Mm-hmm. And I don't work for anybody, baby. I work for that self. Obama, I built it. Suck it. And I printed out this email, and it was, the body of the email, Stacey, it couldn't have been, 6, 7, 8 lines. And then what was ever connected behind it, it was like 9 pages, right? Mm-hmm. So when I hear that Kankles has turned over 55,000 pages of emails, that's like what, like 7 emails altogether?
Something like that. I just think the timing on it is hysterical. It's going to be redacted all to heck, and it's not really going to tell us anything anyway. And it's not like Cindy Blumenthal didn't just sit in with Trey Gowdy and give him a bunch of information that even Congress couldn't get through a Freedom of Information Act. So just a bunch of hoople heads not being able to manage the process and out the information that needs to be gotten out. I'm surprised. It's government or something.
Did you get to read the one email that they found in there that was directly from Bill Clinton?
No.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
That's all it said.
He did not send that email to Hillary. You're lying.
No, it wasn't to Hillary. I just said the one email they found from Bill Clinton. You know it wasn't to Hillary. Okay. Listen, fat boy, I know you're listening, and we're eating into his time. The man
Don't say eating and Christie. Come on, that's mean.
Aha! Bubble and chick, I see what you did there. You did the eating and the Christie and the So Chris Christie announced today that he is running for president of the United States. I think that brings us up to just under 500,000 people running on our side. And he released his new campaign theme.
Time to make the donuts. Dunkin' Donuts are always fresh. I made the donuts. We make them at least twice every day. Time to make the donuts. Not a few kinds, like supermarket.
That's as good as he's getting from us.
Yeah, well, he's twice the man Jeb Bush is. They're both establishment GOP politicians, but
listen,
Jeb went on the paleo diet.
We're not doing twice the man in Dunkin' Donuts for this bastard all the way through the show. I'm just not doing it.
Hey, that was good.
All right. So let's give the devil his due. To my mind, let's play the politics of it. It is game on. To my mind, in 2008, when was running for re-election, and the American people, in their great pensive dichotomy, disagreed by large swaths with all of Obama's major policies, but re-elected him anyway. Thanks, folks.
2012.
When was that?
You said 2008. That was actually in 2012.
I told everybody this was going to be Shotsky Radio tonight. I am so tired. You can tell this is a live broadcast. So back
Absolutely.
Back 46 years ago when Obama got reelected, I honestly think that Christie at that time was the man of the hour. There was a movement to draft him. He was just kind of like the brash New Jersey guy. He hadn't had the opportunity. From a political point of view, what I don't understand about Christie's decision, and maybe it really was about family, what I don't understand from a political point of view is I watched him give a speech, and he would have been the last guy in the race. I think everybody had announced it. He was giving a speech at the Reagan Library it was the end of 11-12. I forget when it was. But it was during the 2012 election cycle. There were people that were asking questions in the audience after this speech that had tears in their eyes, imploring Governor Christie, a man who was an attorney general, a man who was a brash fighter, to go and fight against this nonsense that was going on at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And he demurred, and he didn't run, and okay, good for him. And we find in 2016, in a very crowded, deep field, he wants to run for president. There's only one problem. When you're a one-trick pony, and then you govern as a Republican, one of the most liberal states in the union, his political team had to know that at the very least his governorship record was going to come out as mixed, no?
Yeah, I guess my other thing is just this. Even listening to his speech today, because I listened to it live, JD, because that's what I do for our listeners so they don't have to.
No, you do it because you're retired.
No, I'm really not. Anyway, so I listened to the speech live at 11, except it was 11:10 because he was late. Mm-hmm. And it was full of nothing. It was typical Christie bluster, okay? He's been a one-trick pony, and I have to tell you, his major themes were Washington isn't working, the country is divided, we lack leadership in the world, our allies don't trust us, and our enemies don't fear us, duh. And then the need to compromise to make Washington work again, just like the founding fathers did. Yeah, because the Declaration of Independence was a real compromise. I mean, he's basically sitting there in his speech, kicking the whole thing off, saying, I'm going to govern from the center.
Is this time for a center mass joke?
Oh, my God.
Okay. But the day before, well, he announced today. Yesterday, the Christie team released a 2-minute ad. And basically what it was basically a pre-announced setup of this is the one shot that I'm going to get unvarnished right before my announce, before everybody claims that I shut down the George Washington Bridge and Fort Lee turned into Lord of the Flies and there was no ambulance service and people were dying by the dozen and all the nonsense that didn't happen. But this is the 2-minute setup that the Christie campaign, this is how they want him coming out of the gate. They want to humanize him a little bit. They want to make him less of a Jersey douche. But after this, Stacey,
no offense to our Jersey listeners.
Oh, let me tell you something. I love everybody, but I'll tell you what. I'll take 49 states worth of listeners. I'm a lifelong New Yorker, and I don't care if I'm living in Dubai.
You already kicked Iowa out for ethanol subsidies. You can't start kicking them out state by state, JD. It's not working.
Alaska, call JD and Stacey at K98. But hold on, before we go into this is the 2-minute Christie, on high, the ad that's going to give him the most pristine light. And after that, we're going to follow with how the press and the left is really going to go after him.
I get accused a lot of times of being too blunt and too direct and saying what's on my mind just a little bit too loudly. I have an Irish father and I had a Sicilian mother. Now, for those of you hooting,
I guess the Guineas were there in Jersey.
You know what that means, right? My mom was the one who set the rules and set the tone. No suffering in silence. You got a problem? Tell me. She would tell us every time she had a problem, to the point where we were just like, Mom, do we have to hear this? And she'd say, yes, I need to get it off my chest now. There will be no deathbed confessions in this family. You're going to hear it now. In 2004, my mom got diagnosed with cancer. And all of you have lost a family member to cancer. You understand what this scene is like. She grabbed my hand and she said, Christopher, there's nothing left unsaid between us. It was an incredibly powerful moment in my life. And that moment was created by her whole life. I knew she loved me, and she knew I loved her. When people wonder why I do the things I do, that moment affirmed for me forever that I'm going to be this way. I know if my mom were still alive, she would say to me, I taught you that in a trusting relationship, you don't hold anything back. And if you're going to run for president of the United States and you're going to ask these people for their vote, that is the single most trusting thing they can do as a citizen, is to give you their support. So you better tell them exactly what you're thinking and exactly what you're feeling. And when you ask about my moral compass, that's it. That's it.
Boring.
I think that about sums it up.
Okay, but then we went through the whole family tree again during his speech today. His grandmothers, his mother, the relationship between his mother and his father, how his father went back to college. I mean, really planting him. It was almost like he was trying to steal that narrative from Rubio, except his parents weren't immigrants. They were just poor.
Well, did you see the response and the ad that the Lindsey Graham campaign put out?
No. Do I want to?
Here it is.
I know what boys like. I know what guys want. I know what boys.
Yeah, so he. I couldn't help myself.
Oh my God. There is something so wrong with you.
Oh, yeah, right, because $3 bill Lindsey Graham and not so much. I digress. Okay, so you just heard Chris Christie basically say that he wasn't born. He was immaculately conceived by his Sicilian mother.
No, his Irish mother and his Sicilian father.
No.
Irish the other way. Sorry,
Sicilian. Right. So
that's how much I cared.
His mother used to beat the hell out of his father. You know that for damn sure. So before he was immaculately conceived from the political heavens, and you heard in the ad what he had to do. Think progress of, listen, folks, I know, but Stacey will tell you better than anybody else. This is how the blogs, the social media, the interwebs, the real far fringe, Daily Kos, Think Progress, all these other goons, all of this nonsense slowly seeps into the mainstream media coverage. So mark my words. Here's how Think Progress came out, juxtaposing what they said Christie's record was in Jersey. And it is mixed, but this is kind of a hard sell. But this is what you're going to hear. The Republican primary opposition, Dems if they have to, if they're in a position to do it, and basically the media when it comes to Christie. His administration has drawn widespread criticism when it closed lanes on the George Washington Bridge as an act of retribution against the Democratic mayor of Fort Lee who refused to endorse the governor's re-election bid, caused major traffic jams, impeded blah, 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 blah. Look, the Jersey Bridge scandal is a nothing. But again, folks, this goes back to what I was yelling about last week. It doesn't matter that you understand. It doesn't matter that you're involved. You have to go out and tell a friend, tell 2 friends, tell 5 friends. You have to explain to people, when you look at the polling, this nonsensical New Jersey, George Washington Bridge non-scandal has really hurt Christie. Now, look, I'm not a Christie fan or a Christie apologist, but it is absolute garbage that Sidney Blumenthal is doing business with shady people over in the Middle East. It's not being disclosed to the State Department. He's off the radar. Bill Clinton's on Orgy Island taking hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars from God knows who. Kankles is rolling around the world, smiling and bending over with John Kerry and Obubu for the Iranians, but not answering questions to the American people. But that's all okay, kids. And it's the same media that's going to play both of these stories. It goes on. But he has very few actual accomplishments in his state to highlight on the campaign trail. After winning re-election by a wide margin, a recent poll found that 2/3 of New Jersey residents thinks he sucks. The economy's in the tank. There's 6.5% unemployment in New Jersey is worse than the national average, and the state's long-term unemployment rate is worse than 48 states. Now, he actually... well, hold on.
He has not raised taxes since he's been elected, and he did balance the budget. That's all he talked about.
Right. How did he balance the budget, though, Stace? A very liberal court handed him a victory of $1.57 billion that he was off the hook for as governor on the ruling as to the pensions and what he had to do with Jersey's budget. And if it wasn't for that ruling by more berobed liberal morons, he'd be looking at a $1.5 billion gap.
Well, my biggest thing was this, okay?
Biggest
thing. Yeah, biggest thing, Christie. Got it. But you didn't like my twice the man comment. Where are we going here?
I loved it, baby.
Hello. His policy prescriptions, in my mind, were few and far between during this speech. And you got to remember, I was just sitting at Western Conservatives, and I'm listening to people whose stump speeches are practiced and much more polished. But every single one of them, Ben Carson has a very specific answer to Obamacare. Carly Fiorina has very specific answers to any number of problems in terms of policy prescriptions. Scott Walker, same thing. The only policy prescriptions he offered really played on security fears. And now we know during the whole NSA debate, he was a huge proponent of spying on the American people. I believe he actually challenged Rand Paul's position, by saying he wasn't going to get into intellectual debates about it. It was a waste of time. Yeah, Christie, I can see why being intellectual would be a waste of your time. Okay.
Well, he's from Jersey. But I mean, come on. How much thinking goes on over there?
His policy prescriptions are a strong military, no idea how to pay for it or what that means. Tell the truth. Okay, so yeah, you've got a lot of bluster and you're going to say what you mean. This one cracked me up because I've done business in New Jersey and it's just a lie. Remove restricted regulations to let business thrive. I laughed so hard I was literally crying.
Hold that thought. What were we talking about right before we came on air? Okay? In Manhattan, all right? So, folks, everybody knows the difference between physical, fixed office space with a long-term lease and virtual offices, okay? A colleague came to me today and told me that they knew somebody who had found a virtual office space running about $9,000 a month in Manhattan. And when you go across to Jersey, I mean, this is to your point about regulation and cost of living in this neck of the woods. Of which Christie.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about additional regulations through the New Jersey EPA and DOL that I had to deal with. So the federal regs weren't enough. The good people of New Jersey went further. You know, stormwater regs. New Jersey was monitoring puddles way before the federal government was.
All right, speaking about New Jersey puddles, just says to me,
boring.
Listen, kids, coming back on the other side, JD and Stacey here on K98 Talk. We're going to talk about the SCOTUS week, the GOP having their dress over their head. Everybody, tune in again Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See us here in Game On. We want to thank our Thursday night lead-in, 8 p.m., Radio Red Nation Rising. And Sundays, catch us again 11 a.m. here on K98 Talk for Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, your cure for that weekly mainstream media hangover. See you on the other side.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name like a long lost friend.
K98Talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Game On with JD and Stacey here on K98 Talk. Everybody, right now, I don't care what you're doing. You're on that computer, you're on that phone, you're on that tablet. Open up that other window. Get over to that K98Talk.com right now. Get in that chat room. Say hello to Stacey, Slickery Trigger, Stacey's mom, whoever the hell she is today. All our other fun friends who are over there. As always, folks, you can catch us here live every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on K98 Talk, baby. Catch us again Thursday nights for Game On, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those are both live. We don't give you like the Ralphie May doing the same bit for the next 5 years stuff. Sundays, you got us again live 11 a.m., Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. And then at 12:01 every Sunday, Stacey and I beat the hell out of each other because it's just enough radio for anybody to do.
That would be true. We once talked about doing a daily show, but we want to stay.
Not so much? Not so much on the Daily Show. Okay, so let's see. Anything go on in the Supreme Court this week?
Last week.
You know what? We going to play this game? We going to play this game? We going to play this game?
The only thing I know that came out of the Supreme Court this week was an EPA ruling on an EPA reg that the Obama administration has already said they're going to ignore. So
we're going to get to that. But you knew what I meant last week with the big thing that was led off with, of course, everybody's favorite ruling on marriage. Because basically John Roberts...
They have naked pictures of him.
I am gay.
That's right. What'd you say about
They have naked pictures. They have naked pictures of him. They have something.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
Okay, terrific.
You started. You were talking about naked pictures of men. Hello?
Oh, I'm just going to put, like, during the next break, I'm going to put an image in your head that you're not going to be able to get out via Skype Messenger, and you're going to hate me.
I need a young priest and an old priest. The power of Christ compels you. All right.
Okay, terrific.
All right, why don't you set up what went on last week and this week in the Supreme Court for anybody who may have been living under a rock?
If you've been living under a rock, okay, found last week that they are going to uphold Obamacare subsidies established by the federal government, even though they were supposed to be established by the state, bringing to light and ensuring that what Orwell predicted, that words will have no meaning, actually happened. And then, of course, they basically used the 14th Amendment and enforcing full faith and credit across state lines, said we have to recognize gay marriage and its associated benefits across state lines.
Concealed carry
which led
should
to
follow.
a whole flurry. You can't do that, though.
I know. The British guys, I know.
You're falling right into their trap if you start advocating for that.
I was just making a point.
I know you were making a point. The logic should carry, but the whole point, we as conservatives do not believe we should be centrally governed by nine men and women in a robe who are not elected. We don't want them telling the states what they have to do for the most part, unless they're expressly authorized to do so.
Well, the political news of it is the reaction of the Republican candidates, because it really was a victory. If you're keeping score, you could say it was a victory for the left. So Hillary really, there's not much to press her on, and they wouldn't anyway. Plus, there's only her, Uncle Bernie, and Jim Webb swears he's a candidate.
Oh, it was just a big football spike for the entire Obama administration. I mean, come on. But they were doing the end zone dance all last week.
They were, but it's also the world's biggest wet dream for the media. Because
of course it is.
Well, listen, this is why we do this show. Folks, digital media is becoming more and more important every day. Every single day it's becoming more important. It really is. Because you really need to sort and sift through your sources of information. I am holding in my hands 2 articles written in the last several days. One from Fox News and one from CNN, your source for nothing. And the GOP reaction to the court's rulings. Fox, why Supreme Court rulings on Obamacare, gay marriage, property rights will help GOP's 2016 prospects. CNN starts out. Americans say they support each of the 2 major Supreme Court rulings issued last week, and nearly 4 in 10 now say they view the court as too bad. And when you go through each of these articles, one of them, all right, here's how, you ready for Republican, guess which outlet this came from. Republicans rejoice. That sound you hear is the Tea Party brewing. You can thank the Supreme Court for turning up the heat. That was the first line. First line of the CNN article. Same thing. Americans say they support each of the two major Supreme Court rulings. I mean, you could do this through each of them. You are not being served by the media. And in certain instances, you're not being served by media that you would consider unbiased or friendly or what have you. Because if you take a look at corporate media, they've gotten so big that, hey, man, it's a great place to get a job. It pays well. It's got awesome bennies. It looks great on a resi. And then once you're there, you're basically turning out the same nonsense as your competition who has no viewers.
But if you take a look at it realistically, and remember, I spent time with some of these folks in real time last week. Santorum and Huckabee totally screwed it up. They might as well just drop out now. I really believe you have to look at the GOP response by individual candidate. You can't look at it from an entire party perspective, okay? And you have to look at it by individual and the reasoning they're using. I don't have a problem with Scott Walker's reasoning. He said marriage should be left to the states. I agree with him.
That wasn't my point. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying you can wish and hope that all you want. You look at it that way. I look at it that way. A fair-minded individual looks at it that way. Unless broken out by these candidates, the press will not. The press will not. They will not. They just won't.
Well, and I think that's where it becomes, our responsibility and the responsibility of some grassroots organization to start differentiating the candidates. All the candidates on the right are not good conservative candidates.
No, they
okay,
are not.
Santorum and Huckabee generally pretty conservative, but don't really care what your perspective is at this point. You're not going to win any argument saying God says it's wrong. You may hold that belief personally, but you will not win any political argument that way. And that's what they keep saying.
No,
they need to figure out another way to say it.
Right, but look, they're going to get their constituency. They're going to play it out. As a matter of fact, this is how Santorum is opening every one of his stump speeches. It's insane.
We're on a mission from God.
And Huckabee's
pretty much.
Huckabee's not too far behind. But look, I hear what you're saying, but now let me turn the tables a little bit and play devil's advocate. In the last segment, in the beginning of this segment, we were saying I was really half-heartedly talking about reciprocity and concealed carry, because I agree with you. You can't really force it under the same the same rubric, but it's the same exact thing here. Every one of these candidates, you can't point to Santorum or you can't point to Huckabee, and you cannot look. We come from a point and say they're too religious and they're too Jesus-y and they're going to hurt us in the election and this, that, and the other nonsense because we need a more mainstream candidate.
They'll be out 6 weeks after Iowa.
Wait a minute. The sitting president of the United States in a church last week,
dancing on dead bodies. Yeah.
Let me finish. Sang Amazing Grace. Sang Amazing Grace. So where I agree with you on Huckabee and Santorum, they're not my favorite candidates. I think they're a little too. I think there's a little too emphasis on the social issues, but that's just me. I come at it from a libertarian bent. But I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't bother me any less. It does not bother me any less that people on our side become concerned about this, and for good reason, from a political point of view, because of how it's going to play in the general, where the left can have a shitting president, more liberal than Woodrow Wilson or anybody else who's ever sat in 1600. And this smarmy son of a Chicago skellbag can sit there and sing Amazing Grace and become Reverend O'Boo-Boo, and it's okay. I have a problem with that.
Okay. It was not okay. Nothing about Obama. Okay. It was literally dancing on dead bodies as far as I was concerned to advance his progressive agenda. Like I said, he doesn't even know the second verse to that song. I find it very mockable. And he can't sing, which was new information for me. But I guess what I'm saying is... What?
Nothing. Just keep talking. Just keep talking before I get us thrown off the air.
Did you hear him sing?
Just keep talking for the love of Christ, please.
You can't talk about God, JD. Didn't you hear me before? Good Lord.
Didn't you hear the Blues Brothers were on a mission from God?
No, that's Santorum and Huckabee.
You go back
Okay.
to what you were saying.
Anyway, now I totally forgot.
Okay.
See what you do?
So
Jet
let's
lag isn't bad enough. You've got to be distracting. Anyway,
Well,
if you take a look at the overall picture, okay, we want separation of church and state. So leave your God out of my presidential campaign, and I'm okay with it. We can all agree we have some basic Judeo-Christian values that we should probably be supportive of. Let's work from there. But when you get up on a stump speech, okay, we are at a conservative conference run by a conservative Christian university. Santorum got 2% of the straw poll. Huckabee got 1%. It didn't even play with their core constituency.
Well, when you talk about excluding your God from politics, I agree. However, there's one exception I would like to make to that rule. And I want you to think this through. This makes a lot of sense. I think that we should say, yes, let's exempt to some extent religion from politics. However, I think we should embrace the Hindu god Vishnu around election time. You want to know why? He's got like 47 different arms. You know how many hands he could shake and babies he could be holding and kissing at the same time? He could do like 47 selfies at once. It would be insane.
I'm just going to let that sit there.
Mental note, Vishnu 2016.
No, but I mean, in all seriousness, Santorum and Huckabee are going to be out shortly after Iowa.
You want to know what changes that, though?
Even Ted Cruz's Cuban father, who was stumping for Cruz. Now, Cruz is the only one who has a doppelganger who can go around and give speeches for him. Like, Rafael did a really good job. Even Rafael Cruz mentioned nothing about it.
No, but
did not respond or react at all. Fiorina handled it beautifully. Walker handled it beautifully. Even Ben Carson, who has said what are probably some of the most awful and terrible things ever about homosexuals and the homosexual lifestyle, handled it better than Santorum and Huckabee.
Let's take the last 3 minutes and focus on specifically Huckabee's reaction. Jindal and Huckabee had similar reactions wherein Huckabee can say what he wants because he's a former governor. So he said that as president, he wouldn't comply. Jindal, who's the sitting governor, said, look, I don't like this. This is awful. This wasn't the mechanics. It's a constitutional problem, but the state of Louisiana will comply with the Supreme Court. Now, when Huckabee said that he wouldn't comply with the ruling, okay, the press went ape. Hey, did you hear that, Bob? Did you hear that? Bob, did you hear that? Bob, there's a Republican, Bob, get a camera, Bob, get a camera, get a microphone. There's a Republican saying he hates gay people, okay? So Huckabee says that, all right, I'm not, the Supremes, I don't care, da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, the press gives this current president a pass for, didn't they just make a statement that he doesn't plan on complying with the EPA
He's
regulations?
never enforced immigration law, and it's okay.
No. But he's also, I think, the president who has had more 9-0 decisions against him by the Supreme Court for executive overreach. You have a man who has set precedent. Okay, you can't lock 9 people in a room and get them to agree on 2 damn pizza toppings. And this crowd, the 5-4 crowd, the 5-4 that we keep hearing, oh, the split court, my God, the court's so split. You know what they're not split over? 9-0, they keep whacking this jerk off in the face for overstepping his executive bounds.
I know.
And like Huckabee or not, it's a problem that the press gets their panties all up in a dither, pinching themselves.
Well, and the other thing that I think was interesting that came out of this conference was really the idea that the mainstream media in total needs to be ignored.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not just talking CNN and MSNBC. I'm talking to some extent Fox too. It's really positional media at this point. And where do you go to just get a factual assessment of things. It's very, very difficult.
I cannot believe you don't know the answer to that question. Folks, everybody rise up with one voice and yell it at Stacey and tell her what the answer to that question is. You know exactly what the answer to that question is. You go to K98 Talk, baby. You want to know why? Because the serious we get, Stacey and I.
Lottie-dottie, we like the party.
Coming back into the top of the hour to wrap up the show, we're going to be talking very confused liberals and some whacked-out crazy identity politics. You're going to love this. And, yes, the grape leaves and rolls are great. I love the moussaka, but you broke-ass Greeks are killing the world.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
That's right, everybody. Welcome back to JD and Stacey here on Game On K98 Talk. Everybody right now, get over to that K98Talk.com. Get in that chat room. Say hello to Stacey. Throw some bombs. Get after it with Slickery Trigger. Be careful. The man is armed and has one around the ankle as well. And, of course, every Thursday, I love the commercial. Thursday night, 8 p.m., baby, Eastern Standard Time. And that K98 Talk. You listen to that Radio Red Nation Rising with that Lou and Jared, baby. That Barry female white of the radio. And as always, get over to Spreaker.com, hashtag K98 Talk. Find a catalog of everything JD and Stacey has done since we are here. JD and Stacey. Also go over to SoundCloud.com/JD-Stacey, STACEY. You know what you can find in there? A whole bunch of stuff that I haven't updated in a while, but I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
Wow. Because who's responsible for update? No, never mind. Anyway.
You want to
You want to know what?
I got it. They should. All right. How many courses a day do you take at the retirement home? Like between shuffleboard and mimosas?
I'm sorry. Today I've been working my butt off trying to earn $20,000 for JD Winteregg so I can remove John Boehner.
Tell everybody right now where they can go, why they should go there, and how they can get him to his goal. I'm serious about this.
You should go to jdwinteregg.nationbuilder.com/contribute. It's all over my TL. Please go there and find the link. You should donate because John Boehner sucks, period. He has done nothing but enable the progressive agenda. And JD Winteregg is a young, principled conservative who would not be running if Boehner's rhetoric matched his reality. It just does not. And this is the biggest message election of 2016. If we want to change what's going on, you have to change the leadership.
Breaking news, John Boehner responding to J.D. Winteregg in real time as we speak.
Congratulations, you're a mother.
God, he stinks and I don't like him.
Well, we need about $4,000 more dollars to reach our goal of $20,000. We've been working at it for almost 48 hours, and the reporting deadline is tomorrow. So at midnight tonight. So let's go, folks.
Send J.D. Winteregg in Ohio's 8th, an election with national consequences, to get to Washington, get rid of Boehner, and tell the rest of the House how to.
You can act like a man. What's the matter with you?
Okay. We got a lot of. You told me we got a lot of confused libs in Chicago between Black Lives Matter and correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's just put it this way. The left has spent the last 6 years dividing us up, almost 7 years now, dividing us by every single individual characteristic we can possess. Okay, so you're gay or you're heterosexual, or you're black or you're white or you're Hispanic, you're rich, you're poor, you're a man, you're a woman. So the LGBTQ community, and Q means questioning because I guess they added it today for real, was having a celebratory parade in Chicago. They were confronted by Black Lives Matter.
This is great. This is, folks.
Their factions are actually fighting each other. This is priceless.
Liberal identity politics and balkanization has finally jumped the shark. If you don't, I go back and forth on Breitbart. Sometimes they have well-sourced stuff. Sometimes I'm a little careful with it. There is a guy over there who's a great writer. I've been reading him for years, Warner Todd Houston, and, man, he's got such a great take on this, okay? For everybody who really wants a picture painted for them of what happened, all right? So Obama and Stedman, for the most part, and the rest of these idiots have spent the last 6-7 years trying to divide this country, race, class, sex, ethnicity, hey, you dress and hang it to the left, you dress and hang it to the right, everybody's on a different team. I mean, you name it, and they're trying to divide us over this. Well. The radio gods have come down from on high in the last month and have just, every day the radio gods, they knock on JD's and Stacey's door, they go, hello? And we answer the door, and they just throw radio gold through it. It started with the NAACP back in Rachel Dolezal, who, for those of you who missed it, is a blonde-haired white broad, whiter than a glass of milk, who basically BS'd her way that she was African-American and got fronted and ended up being a comms director for an NAACP chapter in Washington State, okay? Now, let's get back to Werner Todd Houston and what happened in Chicago. Chicago's 47th annual Gay Pride Parade, okay, there's a huge Democratic constituency, was disrupted several times. Oh, my, you want to know what? I bet you it was Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum. Let me keep reading this. I bet you a whole bunch of Rand Paul supporters went and disrupted this. Was disrupted several times by the usual city disruptions. Ready for this? Liberal cities. Gang activity, gunshots, and drunks. But the event was also disrupted, I think this is the part with the Rand Paul and Santorum, by a car driving into a group of bystanders. Then there was an even larger interruption by the Black Lives Matter protesters. This is great. The left has become so stupid, they now do not know what they believe in and who's supposed to be on their side. I love this. I absolutely love this. I would have paid money to watch a bunch of people watching in the gay pride parade square off with the Black Lives Matters crowd like West Side Story, Sharks, and the Jets. Holy good God, I guarantee you the knife fighting and the dancing would both be epic.
I mean, to me, it was just like the perfect illustration of what that kind of divisiveness does to you. And I mean, when you stop and think about it, I said this on Sunday. So Obama goes and gives a eulogy in what is arguably one of the largest black churches in the South, okay, the AME in Charleston, sings Amazing Grace, and the next day lights up the frickin' White House like a rainbow. Who are some of the people most staunchly against gay relationships or gay marriage? The Black Pastors Association of America.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do they? I mean, do you? If you're on the left, are you only looking at these people to talk to you? Because that has to be it, or you would see so much just outright hypocrisy or things that you can't agree with in your little identity box. You wouldn't be able to rationalize it for yourself.
Yes, but this is just the absolute wet dream part of it. This is the most fantastic part of it. Oh, Boo-Boo, Stedman, Kankles, John Kerry, who's just basically selling the country out to Iran. And I mean, you just named the litany of moronic progressive asshats in this administration have gotten exactly what they've wanted. They have finally dumbed down their own constituency base so damn much that they do not know what they're supposed to support and what they're not. And do you want to know why I say what they're supposed to? Because as much as Stacey and I talk about sometimes separating religion from politics, we're not people who are not of faith. It's just a delineation. But I'm going to tell you something. What differentiates conservatives or any people of faith from the left and from their base constituency is that the reason that they're so confused right now, the reason they're literally at civil war, the reason that the Black Lives Matters crowd is disrupting a gay pride parade instead of a Rick Santorum event or a Rand Paul event or whoever else they think's on our clan in this side is because they are not people of faith on the left, and progressivism is their faith Bible ideology, lock, stock, and nut. And they need it taught to them and shoved down their throat like they were in some Mooney camp with the Reverend Sung Young Moon or the Purple Heaven's Gate moron UFO cultists. That is exactly what progressive and leftist ideology is. It is not thinking for yourself. It can't be. You cannot look at failure after failure after failure after failure after disaster. Hundreds of millions of people who have died under leftist policies. Yes, I said it. Go read your damn history.
And then just to prove, okay, apparently, JD, the Black Lives Matter crew in your home city of New York are not satisfied with the unified, multicultural, multiracial response of the people of Charleston to the tragedy that happened in their city, okay? So they have to up the ante because they are liberal northern betters, so please understand that. And they have decided to run a flag burning party downtown on the 4th of July. That won't be a problem.
No, but this is okay. You have to understand that for all that everybody wants to kick New York. Okay, for all that everybody wants to kick New York. You know what JD? You know where JD spent his entire day today? All
New York.
Day. Exactly.
Manhattan.
In Manhattan, okay? I have got to tell everybody who's never been there or do not understand it something. Yes, New York is a very progressive liberal state, and yes,
the mayor wants to outlaw smoking inside your house.
I understand that, okay? But here's the thing that the Black Lives Matter crowd or any kind of anarchist leftist group that wants to come in and stir up unrest. You can do it in a city like Baltimore that's about 9 blocks long. You can do it in a little place like Ferguson. I don't give a damn if you bring 50,000 protesters in to shut the whole city down. If these people lock up traffic or block any kind of commutation, there are 9 million people in the city, white, black, Spanish, purple, 9 legs, no legs, married to a horse, identify as a horse, will come down with the wrath of God and beat these people until they're all dead. And the 4 that are left are going to get thrown into the damn East River. Do not mess with New York's commuter time. Black Lives Matter. This is a public service announcement.
You can absolutely burn a flag, though.
Yeah, you know.
Not a Confederate flag,
Look,
not a Confederate flag, not a rainbow flag.
No. Let them.
The American flag. Because, again, our liberal northern betters did not think that Charleston responded appropriately.
No, but for those of you who do not have faith in us, yes, the laws protect them. Yes, they're allowed to do it. And I can say this because I know a lot of them, and no, if I was you, I wouldn't admit it. Let me tell you something. Do you know who is going to handle the security for that event? The New York City Police Department, otherwise known as the NYPD, 36,000 strong. And I don't care about the mayor or the police chief or the governor or the rest of the hoople-headed, ass-hatted, moronic jerk-offs in this state. The cops and the firemen in New York City are real damn good. And I have to tell you something, sometimes a little karma and extra justice gets administered to those who shouldn't do what they do, so we'll see what happens.
Whatever. I just thought it was really, really, really arrogant of a group who doesn't live here, doesn't understand the culture, and certainly doesn't understand why Charleston responded the way it responded, because we actually have manners and care about each other. To say you didn't do good enough, so we're going to do something absolutely abhorrent. I mean, that's so ridiculous.
I've had enough giving these people any kind of run. With a couple minutes left here, we are actually going to tell a little Greek story that is very rare, okay? This is a Greek story that does not have to do with the birth and creation of civilization, yogurt, or butt sex. So there is now a fourth thing.
Well, kind of have to do with the latter if you, make an analogy,
well,
but
as a matter of fact, you want to know what? We are all taking it up the pooper on this.
Yeah.
This is our Zorba-like friends over in Greece. For those of you who would like a quick economic piece of history and rundown, never in the history of recorded time have 17 disparate countries that really aren't connected by that much, except for the same geographic reason, consolidated into a single currency. Why? Because it's basically the death of a society. However, there was a lot of subsidy going on by the other stronger members in the EU. Long story short, they took in Greece as part of the European Union. Greece was no better than an emerging market. To make a long story short, Greece is the person that you let stay at your house, and while you had a busy week of work and you came home and said, why are you here a week later, have destroyed my house and eaten all my food, get the hell out of here. And the person looks at you and goes, have you read the law? I've called the sheriff. Nobody can kick me out of here for a year. Deal with it. That's Greece. Greece is about to fall out of what they call the Eurozone. They have restrictions for their people right now where they can take out 60 to 70 euro a day. Why? Because as a country, they really have behaved no differently than a lot of the progressive states in this union. New York being one, California being another, and the list goes on and on and on. This is about unfunded liabilities. This is about a collapse of economies and societies, and we better wake up because our 57th state, according to Obama, Puerto Rico, their governor just came out and said that they have $72 billion in liabilities that they ain't going to cover. But you want to know something? Screw them, because you and I got our liabilities covered, don't we, baby?
Yes, we do.
Woo! I love fast hours, especially when you and I are so tired, have no idea what the hell's going on. People in the chat room are listening to us. Please give us a shout-out and let us know if we made any sense. Baby girl, you got those keys?
I do.
All right. What are you doing between now and the next show? Tell the people how you're saving the world.
Trying to figure out how to get your "Ask This" comment out of everybody's head because it's popped up in the chat room 10 times, and I'm going to continue working on Mr. Winter Egg's campaign.
JD will be continuing to build it, Obama. You heard it. I will be in and out on social media, but other than that, find me at Game On JD on the Twitters. And oh yeah, you know what dark alleyway that I shouldn't be in? I'll be there. See you Thursday night at 9.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on the glitter. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.